Hey, how's it going? It's been 73 days since the initial release of Starfield. The day one launch was pretty successful, and us fans were excited about exploration and exploring planets. However, one patch later, numerous bugs surfaced, leaving us fans scratching our noggins. Initially, I assumed the issues would be resolved and Starfield could still be on track for Game of the Year title. Now I'm starting to worry that Bethesda might be on the opposite trajectory. The first announcement of a beta patch was made about 2 weeks ago on November 11th, 2023. Before that, there had been some unusual silence from the developers and nothing had been mentioned about fixing bugs or providing any updates on what was going to be addressed. There were countless posts and discussions about bugs that corrupted players' saves or locked them out of quests. These are just a few examples, but later on I will be discussing more and also going over a substantial list of bugs that have been resolved, some of which Bethesda has not publicly stated on X. Putting that aside, the reality is that the initial lack of communication was perhaps the worst way to show love and appreciation to us fans. Thankfully, the beta patch was released last week. Sadly, some of the issues they resolved may have potentially made things worse. Before I get into that, I do understand it's a beta patch, so there might be a few things that are broken and bugs will be popping up left and right. I get that. But at the same time, we have to talk about it because it will bring more eyes to the situation and possibly more fixes. Let's start off with some of the bugs I've experienced recently in the beta. The first one we need to discuss is the mysterious captain. This is a random NPC event that can pop up in space, and the captain will hail to you first. Then a brief discussion will occur about Starborns and how the captain is actually a vendor. At that point, there will be a dialogue to trade. Surprisingly, there is a problem with buying weapons from this unique vendor. Although you have the options to purchase legendary weapons, the issue arises when you make those purchases, as you will not be able to keep the items you bought. For example, this clip right here will show you that I have purchased a few legendary weapons. However, when I go to the inventory screen, I do not have the legendary weapons there, but I do have the legendary helmet. I've had this happen to me before the beta, so I guess it's yet to be resolved. There's also been a significant problem with ships landing on planets. Shortly after they land, there are no enemies or any signs of human life outside. However, when you go inside, there is a whole crew present. I thought, okay, I'll just take them all out and grab the ship. No big deal. So I went and did that exact thing. But unfortunately, I could not pilot the ship, which was disappointing because this one seemed really cool too. I sucked it up and went on to explore the rest of the planet. I also had the same exact problem pop up again, except this time I was asked to take out the whole entire crew that was pretty much innocent, yet the enemies outside the ship were hostile. Unfortunately, the issue has yet to be resolved, but there is a chance that it will be addressed in the near future. The third and final bug I encountered is something I discussed yesterday, both invisible guns and downgraded weapons. I'm not too sure how many of you have experienced this before, so if you have, feel free to let me know down below. Now, I honestly could not tell you how this bug happened, except for the fact that I had explored a planet, looted a body that had a legendary Grendel, then made a save. When I reloaded the same exact save the next following day, the weapon is now gray and does not have a display at all. So at this point, I had no choice but to move on because reloading the save had no effect at all. These are some of the bugs I've experienced so far, and it seems to me that more issues pop up each time they release a patch. The sad news is that these bugs are now on my current save, and I probably should have made a backup, to be honest, but for testing purposes, I guess I found out. Now that we have talked about that, let's go ahead and take a look at the entire list of bugs that have been resolved, yet Bethesda has not publicly disclosed on X. The following issues have been resolved and fixed, and the information comes directly from Bethesda.net, specifically the support section of the site. If you'd like to watch one of my previous videos where I go over the entire list and explain the bugs that have been fixed, then check out the link down below in the comment section. With that aside, we are going to begin with the main missions that are bug-free, such as number 1, Into the Unknown, number 2, All That Money Can Buy, number 3, Empty Nest, number 4, No Sudden Moves, number 5, High Price to Pay, number 6, Power from Beyond, and last but not least, number 7, The Old Neighborhood. Almost half of the main missions in Starfield are bugged as of right now, but soon we shall see a fix in the future. Next, we are going to check out the list of faction missions that are bugged as well, starting off with the Ryujin faction. Number 1, Sabotage. Number 2, Guilty Parties. The following UC Vanguard missions have been fixed. Number 1, Eyewitness. Number 2, War Relics. Number 3, Delivering Devils. And last but not least, number 4, Friends Like These. Next, Crimson Fleet Faction. Number 1, Eye of the Storm. And number 2, Rock Meets King. Or Rook Meets King. Oh well, I'll leave it in there. Then last but not least, we have the Freestar Rangers, which is only one mission, and that's On the Run. Now, if you would like to know the specific details on what exactly has been fixed with those missions or faction missions, then I definitely recommend checking the link down below that I just mentioned a few seconds ago. Not only that, but that link's also going to tell you what missions in general have been fixed as well. Currently, additional faction missions have been introduced, but the developers are actively addressing the associated issues. If you've encountered difficulties with the Mercury Tower Penthouse resulting in the loss of items, well then I have some good news for you because there is going to be a fix on the way. One of the following developers had this to say over at the Bethesda.net support site. Where are my items placed in the Mercury Tower Penthouse? We are aware of an issue that causes some players to lose their items placed in the Mercury Tower Penthouse in New Atlantis. While we work to resolve this, we recommend you remove the items from Mercury Tower Penthouse or refrain from decorating it until after completing the high price to pay. If your items are missing, try reverting an earlier save, removing your items, then complete the mission. You should be able to safely place your items after this. So yeah, if you did not know, there was a huge problem going on to where some of you have actually spent a lot of time decorating your house, and then come to find out the next following day or maybe the same exact day you load the save back up and you find out, well, all of your items are now underneath the ground. Essentially, what was happening here is that when you did place the items on top of whatever object, it would then sink underneath the map. So pretty much your items would be falling down endlessly and there was no way to retrieve them. And it appears that it's all due to that one specific mission that they just mentioned, which is high price to pay. This is good news because a lot of you have been talking about this in the comments section, and I could not agree more that this bug right here absolutely needed to be fixed, and it's good to see that there is going to be something on the way here shortly. But I don't know, if we could be honest here, at the end of the day, this is pretty ridiculous that almost half of the main missions are locked, meaning either it's completely bugged so that you cannot progress any further, or you have to wait to talk to some NPC, but there's no dialogue available. Not to mention, not only are the main missions bugged, but side quests as well, and even faction missions are just completely tarnished. So besides main missions, side missions, and even faction missions, what else is currently messed up? Well, if you take a look at your ship, sometimes there might be an attached asteroid to it, which is just crazy. Not to mention, there are potential chances where you can't actually attach a den or any star station to your ship, and then pretty much what will happen is if you land at Jemison or specifically Atlantic City, you will see half of the textures are completely messed up, unloaded, and so you will fall beneath the map as well as other NPCs as well. The current state of Starfield is just completely messed up as of right now. And I know some of you out there have yet to come across a huge bug or something that's game breaking as this, which if that is the case, then good for you. That's awesome that you can still enjoy the game. But on the other hand, there's a good portion of the player base that cannot progress any further into the storyline or pretty much a faction quest or whatever the case may be because of this issue. Or the worst case scenario, you have lost a good portion of your items at your penthouse. This is another issue that's just completely messed up. Now, I understand that the game has been praised by so many, even myself. Yet at some point you have to be honest with yourself and be like, well, the game is actually in a crap state, which it absolutely is. If you were to say that this game right now is perfect and is flawless and there's no bugs, you would be a complete liar. The game does have bugs, and it does have several problems that need to be resolved, and hopefully those are things that we will see soon. The only problem is when this does come out, is it going to break the game more? Are we going to have to receive another patch to fix those bugs? That's a huge problem, especially considering this is coming from Bethesda. What happens when Fallout 5 is released, or even Elder Scrolls 6? What's going to happen? Are we going to come across the same exact problems here, where potentially they leave us in the dark for a couple of weeks and then they're like, hey, we're going to release a beta patch. This is awesome. You guys download it and make the game better. If that's the case, then that's an absolutely terrible way to go. I'm no developer, but if I had any idea, I think the best way to approach it would be debugging the game at the end and polishing it all together to make sure that it's 100% completely good to go out the door. Sure, that's probably what Starfield was like at the beginning, working, but somehow when they released another patch, it broke things down completely. So with that being said, if you have any questions, comments, or anything that you would like to say, comment down below. I will be answering within the first hour or two for those that do have questions. If you do want to subscribe, do that now and give the video a like because I absolutely appreciate it. It lets me know that I've done a great job. Other than that, thank you guys so much and I'll see you all in the next video.